The war involving Iran has now entered its 55th day, and despite a ceasefire extension announced by former US President Donald Trump, the situation on the ground is far from calm. Instead of moving toward peace, the region is experiencing rising tensions, fragile diplomacy, and new escalations that threaten to collapse the truce at any moment. To understand the current situation, we need to break it into three key parts: the ceasefire status, military and maritime tensions, and the stalled peace process. First, the ceasefire itself. Trump recently extended the truce, giving more time for negotiations to continue. The idea behind this extension was to allow diplomatic channels, including third-party mediation, to produce a workable peace proposal. However, Iran has made it clear that it does not see the situation as stable. Iranian officials argue that the United States is violating the spirit of the ceasefire by maintaining pressure tactics, including a naval blockade on Iranian ports. From Iran's perspective, this blockade is a major obstacle. They claim that real negotiations cannot happen while economic and military pressure continues. As a result, Iran is demanding that restrictions be lifted before any serious diplomatic breakthrough can occur. The United States, on the other hand, insists that pressure must remain in place until Iran agrees to concrete terms. Second, tensions in the region are escalating despite the ceasefire extension. One of the most sensitive flashpoints is the Strait of Hormuz, a critical global oil route. Reports confirm that Iran has seized foreign commercial vessels in the area, accusing them of violating maritime rules. These actions have triggered alarm worldwide because any disruption in this waterway can impact global oil prices and energy supply chains. At the same time, US and allied naval forces continue to monitor and intercept ships in the region. This creates a highly unstable environment where one small incident could quickly escalate into a wider confrontation. Additionally, clashes and strikes have been reported in nearby regions, including Lebanon, where Israeli airstrikes have intensified alongside rocket exchanges involving Hezbollah. This wider regional conflict adds more pressure to an already fragile ceasefire between Iran and the United States. Third, the peace process itself is stuck. Even though diplomatic efforts are ongoing behind the scenes, no major breakthrough has been achieved. Mediators, including regional actors, are trying to bring both sides back to the negotiating table. However, trust is extremely low. Iran claims that talks are meaningless unless economic and military pressure is reduced. The United States insists that Iran must first agree to a unified proposal before any easing of restrictions. This deadlock has created what analysts describe as a pause without peace. Inside Iran, there is also internal debate. Some political factions are pushing for negotiation and stability, while more hardline elements argue for resistance and stronger military posture. This internal division is also affecting how Iran responds to the international pressure. Meanwhile, global markets are reacting strongly. Oil prices have surged due to fears that the conflict could disrupt energy supplies through the Strait of Hormuz. Many countries are now preparing contingency plans in case the situation worsens. So where does this leave us on day 55? The reality is that the ceasefire is holding, but only on paper. On the ground, tensions remain high, military activity continues in key strategic zones, and diplomacy is stuck in a cycle of demands and conditions that neither side is ready to compromise on. Unless there is a major shift in negotiations, experts warn that the region could easily slide back into full-scale conflict. For now, the world is watching closely, waiting to see whether this fragile pause turns into real peace, or the calm before another escalation.